Hello, everybody. This is Gerald Salenti, and it's Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. And we're very, very fortunate to have back with us Judge Andrew Napolitano. He was on a trip over there to Moscow and speaking to students, graduating students, about the Constitution of the United States. Yeah, the judge only knows more about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, than probably anybody that I know. And I ask anybody to let me know if anybody that you know knows more than him. But nobody could tell me that. And he's a real man of honor when it comes to the United States, what the country was founded upon, and how it's declined in front of our eyes. And Judge, thanks for being here. Tell us about what you were doing over there in Moscow.
Gerald, it's always a pleasure to be on with you, my friend. I was a guest of a network with which you are familiar, RT, Russia Today, which is really today the largest television network in the world. They reach 1 billion people every day. Rick Sanchez, with whom I worked at Fox 25 years ago, is their principal 6 p.m. Evening anchor, and they were celebrating their 20th anniversary. They actually arranged for me to give us a lecture to about 450 undergraduate and graduate students at the School of International Diplomacy of Moscow State University, of which Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is a graduate. I got to tell you, the guys all wore coats and ties. You would have loved this. The ladies all wore dresses. The minute they saw me walk in the room, everybody stood up.
Oh,
It was absolutely, I was overwhelmed with their understanding of English, their understanding of the Constitution and the questions they asked, and their personal decorum. I was absolutely overwhelmed. The dean said to the audience, we haven't had a speaker here in 4 years between COVID and the special military operation. But I must tell you, Judge Napolitano, you are very good friends with the last person who stood right here at this podium, John Mearsheimer.
wow.
I mean, God, to compare me to John Mearsheimer was just overwhelming. He's, one of the smartest people on the planet and one of the most in demand. So it was a wonderful experience. Their questions were terrific, Gerald, not pabulum, but serious questions about the extent of free speech. They wanted me to talk about Trump, but I shied away from it. The nature of checks and balances, the nature of federalism. How can something be legal but unconstitutional? These were it was a great academic experience. The interview with Maria Zakharova was very, very enlightening. Her understanding of American attitudes, culture, biases, prejudices, mores is terrific. And then she said to me, I used to live in the neighborhood. They obviously know where I live, in the neighborhood where you live, near the UN on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Where do you shop? I told her. She goes, I used to go there twice a week. I mean, her familiarity with Americans, the Russians do not put political hacks in these jobs. They put people with profound understanding of Americans and Chinese. They sort of choose their specialty, East or West. But interviewing her on tape for 2 hours, I didn't get the tape yet. They're going to send it to me with a translation. Interviewing her for 2 hours was very, very enlightening and eye-opening. They get it. They understand America. They understand Trump. They understand him very, very well. They're extremely ahead of the game in terms of understanding. I mean, look at these 450 students. None of them was over 30. Now, do you know anybody under 30 who's fluent in Russian in America? I don't. Every one of these kids was fluent. I mean, fluent in English. So it was a great opportunity. I palled around with our mutual friend, a big fan of yours, the great George Galloway. And it was a very memorable week.
Oh, lucky you. Tell me, what was Moscow? You're talking about a woman that lived right where you do, near the UN, is compare New York City to Moscow in terms of.
Well, Moscow today, the American public, I think, envisions Moscow the way it was under the Soviets. It was a dump. But the way it is today, it's high end. The financial district looks like Dubai with those sleek, angular, curved 50-story high-rise office buildings. The city is very busy, much hustle and bustle, high-end restaurants, beautiful hotels, well-dressed people, no visible crime, no visible homelessness, no bums, no beggars, no police. The only time I saw police was when we were at the Bolshoi Theater, because that's where Putin was going to be. Other than that, you don't see them. They may be there, but you don't see them. Very, very, very busy city.
How about the streets compared to the filth and the dirt in New York City compared to Moscow?
I got to tell you something. There's an underground tunnel that goes between the Metropole Hotel, built in 1905, still in its original splendor, but obviously modernized, to the Bolshoi, the greatest ballet theater in the world. That underground tunnel was immaculate. I'm walking in the tunnel alone. There's a guy playing a violin. The guy looks at me, stops what he's playing, and begins playing the theme from The Godfather. What? Yeah. I don't know if he's American or what he was. I didn't say anything to him.
Wow.
And of course, the place is immaculate. There's not a speck of anything on the floor, on the ground.
Yeah. It's so sad. Yeah. It's so sad to see the decline of this country, and people have no idea. I mean, New York City's a crap hole now. Again, I'm a Bronx guy. I grew up in the city, lived in the city, and to see it now just breaks my heart. You know, you're talking about the subway systems in Moscow. The subways in New York are like a night in Calcutta.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 4.5 hours.
I did not get on a subway, but I saw the ones that were above ground. Just like in Switzerland, they're beautiful, clean, fast, safe, and reliable.
You know, if I drive to Montreal, I'm 4.5 hours away by car. If you take the train, Amtrak, 10 hours.
Wow.
10 hours.
Wow.
My friend just went back and forth. 10 hours each way. Judge, you got an article coming out, and it's very important, about Venezuela and what the Trump administration is doing. President Trump's use of the U.S. military to kill persons on speedboats in international waters or in territorial waters claimed by other sovereign nations, all 1,500 miles from the U.S., has posed grave issues of due process. The Constitution guarantee of due process requires it for every person, not just Americans. The operative language of the Fifth Amendment is that, quote, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The Trump administration has claimed, this is your article coming out tomorrow that everybody has to read, that it claimed that it can kill whomever it designates as an unlawful enemy combatant. It prefers the political phrase, quote, narco-terrorist. And the due process it provides is intelligence gathered by American spies and White House analysis of that intelligence.
It's really sickening. They are mimicking what Barack Obama did when he killed 2 Americans, Anwar al-Awlaki. I mentioned this later in the column. Yeah. And Awlaki's son, both of whom were born in the United States. Obama's logic was the same as Trump. kill them before they harm anybody else. And by the way, we analyzed the situation in the basement of the White House, and that was their due process. Obviously, that's not due process. Due process is a fair, unbiased, indifferent, public evaluation of the evidence against a person by a neutral judicial officer, either a federal judge or a jury, or both. This is one of the reasons why we have a United States of America, because the president is not a prince or a king and cannot punish before trial and cannot kill whoever he wants. The reason, and I've written about this before, but the reason I wrote this article at this time was twofold. One, while I was in Russia, I received an email from a retired American admiral whom I know, who doesn't want me to use his name, and said, I read your article from a couple of weeks ago, and you're absolutely spot on. When we were stopping ships in the high seas, if they had drugs, we arrested them and seized the drugs. We turned them over to the Coast Guard, who turned them over to the DOJ. If there was no drugs, we let them go. If the president of the United States had ordered me to kill them, I would have taken those 3 stars on my cuff, the Navy stars are on the sleeve, and dropped them in the Secretary of Defense's office and would have walked out of the Pentagon as a civilian. And I would have expected all those who work with me to have done the same. That motivated me to write the article, as well as the following. Trump gambled that his boy Hegseth and his killers from the sky would kill everybody and there'd be no survivors to challenge what happened. There are 2 survivors from the last attempt to kill. When the Navy rescued them, in air quotes, from the sea, and then arrested them without probable cause, the DOJ didn't know what the hell to do with them. Man, if we prosecute these guys, their lawyers are going to challenge what Trump is doing because we don't have any probable cause. We don't even know who they are. We don't have any evidence against them. If there was any evidence in the boat, it's at the bottom of the ocean and it's dissipated in the waters. Let's send them home. Now lawyers are pursuing them. They don't have to come to the U.S. They can file this challenge through their American lawyers to sue the president of the United States for the use of official power to attempt their murder and to succeed in their kidnapping. That will get this before a federal court.
Again, this whole narco-terrorist stuff is a load of crap. It's no one anywhere is talking about the facts that Trump tried to overthrow the Maduro government when he was president back in 2019. Here is a clip from his State of the Union address. I want you to listen to it very carefully and listen to what he calls Maduro.
That's why my administration reversed the failing policies of the previous administration on Cuba. We are supporting the hopes of Cubans, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans to restore democracy. The United States is leading a 59-nation diplomatic coalition against the socialist dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro. Maduro is an illegitimate ruler, a tyrant who brutalizes his people, but Maduro's grip on tyranny will be smashed and broken. Here this evening is a very brave man who carries with him the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of all Venezuelans. Joining us in the gallery is the true and legitimate president of Venezuela, Juan Guaido. Mr. President, please take this message back to your family. Thank you, Mr. President. Great honor. Thank you very much. Please take this message back that all Americans are united with the Venezuelan people in their righteous struggle for freedom. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Is that unbelievable?
Well, he is a CIA asset, of course, and the CIA is now paying his tuition at the University of Miami, where he's a grad student.
But again, what we just watched, nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the language. He says that, first of all, did you see all the little clown boys and girls called Congress standing up and applauding?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to restore democracy in Venezuela. What? Who the hell are we to say what's going on over there?
Right. Right.
Oh, the democracy that we're losing in this country that you write about each week? How they keep robbing us of our Bill of Rights, of our Constitution? And we're going to restore democracy in a country where we're losing it right here?
Right, right.
He goes on to say that he called Maduro a socialist dictator. Had nothing to do with drugs, did it? And now they're playing this thing about we're stopping them from bringing in narco-terrorists about drugs.
I mean,
and he calls him an illegitimate ruler. Who is he to call him an illegitimate ruler? Again, they are making this whole thing up about that they're bringing drugs into the country, a drug war, when it had absolutely nothing to do with that. The facts are all there with everybody just watched and saw.
What he wants is for his American billionaire buddies to have access to Venezuelan oil, which, of course, is an enormous cache of oil. But I thought he ran for president under an America First platform where we would not try to tell others how to live. In fact, when he was in Saudi Arabia, probably to cut some land deal with his son-in-law, but he was in Saudi Arabia about 3 months ago, he blasted the neocons for wanting to use American power to tell others how to live. But now it appears we are on the cusp of an invasion of Venezuela. Now, maybe I missed something. Did the Congress declare war in Venezuela and somehow I missed that great debate? Well, of course not. There has been no debate because the president doesn't care for the Constitution. He just exercises whatever levers of power he can grasp.
I mean, can you imagine the crap spewing out of that mouth of his that Guaido is the real president of Venezuela? And all the little clown boys and girls standing there. What a bunch of freaks that are running this country.
Indeed.
What a bunch of gutless little slime balls. Right in front of oh, you hated Hitler? How about Mussolini? Look what right in front of everybody's eyes, Judge, that video that we just played, nobody talks about that anymore. Had nothing to do with narco-terrorism. It had what you said it has to do with oil and natural resources. You think the United States would have invaded Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon if their major export was broccoli?
Broccoli Rob.
Yeah.
Of course not. I mean, we are.
And there's no outrage. Oh, and all these little slime balls that, fine. We don't want King Trump. No King Trump. Fine. No king. All right. Okay. Hey, but you liked Genocide Joe, didn't you? Here's the cover of the magazine this week. There were over almost 3,000 people up here in tiny little Kingston last week protesting the No King thing. But it's okay. They love Genocide Joe for what he did in Israel, stealing $50 billion of our money to keep the Ukraine war going.
Well, Israel would be nothing without the United States. As I said at the Occupy Peace rally, every bullet in the brain of every Palestinian baby has been paid for by money borrowed by the United States of America and given to the Israeli monsters. How can your heart not ache over that? How can your heart not ache over Trump killing whoever he wants? His argument is we'll kill them before they commit crime. We don't have that in this country. The government does not have the liberty of deciding who is going to commit crime and executing them. Even if they did commit the crime he says they committed, that's not a death penalty prescribed crime. So on his own, he's becoming prosecutor, judge, jury, and executor. Absolutely prohibited by the Fifth Amendment. He doesn't care. Those, as you call them, clown boys in the Congress, they don't care. Only Rand Paul and Thomas Massie and a few Democrats have spoken out against this. But the Senate just looks the other way. Every time I talk about this, people look at me like I have two heads. What's wrong with you? Don't you want drug dealers off the streets?
Yeah, I know.
What's wrong with me? Wait till he starts shooting people in Manhattan because he thinks they're going to commit crimes. Why would the logic apply only on the high seas and not here?
Again, he talks about restoring democracy in Venezuela as we're losing it over here, just by the facts. You know, Judge, he also, again, more BS. Hey, you elect me, I'm going to Ukraine war in 24 hours, right? Hey, now that I'm elected, that war's going to end before I take office, right? And then we're going to meet with Putin. Oh, we're going to make a deal. We're going to go to Alaska. We're going to make a deal. No deal. And then he was going to meet him in Budapest, right? Now that's over.
That's over because Marco Rubio foolishly made a demand that the Russians rejected 2 years ago, which is ceasefire before negotiations. Apparently, Putin said to Trump, you better tell your boy Zelensky that he better sign a peace agreement, or Ukraine will be destroyed. Will be destroyed. That's the English translation of the language from three sources that I have seen, which purport to recount what Putin told Trump.
And again, 99.999999% of Americans have no idea how the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in 2014.
Correct.
And it's in your Trends Journal back then, an article written by Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. It was Washington is driving the world to the final war, and he talks about the United States overthrow of the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych, and Victoria Nuland, the Undersecretary of State, boasting that the United States gave $5 billion to non-governmental organizations in Ukraine to teach democracy.
We don't spread democracy. We spread violence and death. And when you search the world looking for monsters to slay, they have a way of following you home.
Yeah. This is so sad. Again, as I said, you know, no king, Trump, fine. But genocide, Joe Biden, okay? And that's all right. We love that. They're hypocrites. None of them occupy peace. Not a word about peace. And about, hating the kings. What do you got? 43 kings around the world, right? How about going after the rest of them? And by the way, when you look at that video, and anybody could go put it up on YouTube about Trump's State of the Union address with Guaido, there's a little clown boy next to him, next to Guaido, all dressed up in his costume with all these little things on his chest, you know, a little military guy, little boy, all these little costumes, these kings, and they dress up in. And don't forget to kiss their hand and their ring and kneel down. What kings? I said if they were Italian, you'd call them a mafia.
When are you going to visit King Charles and Queen Camilla, Gerald?
Yeah. What a freak show. Judge, thanks for all that you do. And who's you going to have on coming up?
Oh, Phil Giraldi and Jeff Sachs.
Boy, I got to tell you, I just read an article that Giraldi put out about Winston Churchill. He just put it out. And about what a slime ball Winston Churchill really is.
I saw the same piece. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And people have no idea about it.
Yeah.
No idea. No, Giraldi's one cat, man.
Yeah,
and who else you have on?
Professor Sachs. What will Israel do next?
Yeah.
Terrific guy. And Napoleon once said, and this is a thesis of Phil's about Churchill, history is not what happened. It's what people think has happened.
Of course.
So much of it has been whitewashed.
Yep.
So many monsters have been elevated to sainthood, and so many decent human beings history has tried to forget.
Yep. And look. People have no idea about the Iraq War, how we were lied into it.
Right.
They have no idea. This is my book, Trend Tracking, Trends 2000. This book was an international bestseller about how that little slime ball, McNamara, lied about the Gulf of Tonkin incident and finally admitted it just before he died.
Right.
And then again, people have no idea, like you just said about history. It's whitewashed crap. So everybody go to Judging Freedom if you want to see something that you're not going to see anywhere else. Judge, thanks for being on. Great to see you back, and we'll see you next week.
You got it, Gerald. All the best, my friend.
Ciao, ciao.